Look, ultimately, it is just hoops. Regardless, hit that like button and smash subscribe as you walk in. Hope you guys are having a killer day. Just another day. Good to have you back, everyone. We spend a ton of time on this channel dissecting LeBron James's impact on the league. And folks always ask, why the obsession? Why keep bringing him up? Yada, yada, yada. Here is the thing. It is not about the man himself. It is about the mindset he symbolizes. It represents craving the reward without the grind, demanding victory without the sweat equity, chasing clout without the resume, expecting to be called great just for showing up. That is the core issue. I make this content as a warning for the next generation. I don't want them falling into that delusion trap, thinking they are elite when they haven't paid their dues. That path leads to you pleading for validation, just like LeBron. It makes you paranoid, thinking the world is against you, when the truth is your game just doesn't write the checks your mouth is cashing. You don't measure up to the media hype. That is the real problem. So, I want to share a real-world story that perfectly illustrates the LeBron effect. It shows how this mindset has poisoned not just the NBA, but basketball culture as a whole, specifically infecting the youth. Over the holidays, I was chopping it up with a relative on my girlfriend's side. We started talking hoops. We are about the same age, so we see eye to eye. We were venting about the state of the modern NBA. You know the drill. It is unwatchable, soft, and feels like these current stars have zero passion for the actual sport. Turns out, this guy coaches a recreational league, working with teenagers, mostly high school kids. He starts venting about his headaches with the team. I cut him off and said, "Let me guess. Everyone wants to chuck 30-footers, right?" He laughed and said, "Exactly." He told me, I can't get them to focus on anything else. He actually said they got mad at him because he dedicated a single practice to boxing out. In my head, I am thinking, that is awesome. I love hearing that a coach is actually forcing fundamentals down their throats, even if they hate it. But he goes on. He tells me they were genuinely salty about wasting a day on rebounding drills. So, he pulls a power move. He invites his buddies guys in their late 40s and 50s to scrimmage against these high schoolers. We are talking old heads versus the modern era kids. You have the youth, full of energy, obsessed with fancy handles and deep threes. And the result? The old guys absolutely smoked them. He said, "We destroyed them. They did it with ball movement, one dribble pull-ups, and post play. Minimalist, efficiency-first basketball. The stuff we grew up on." But here's the kicker. Even after getting embarrassed by a bunch of middle-aged men, the kids had zero interest in learning the style that just beat them. Listen closely, LeBron stands. These kids, raised in this so-called skill era where shooting and handles are everything and basics are ignored, got completely washed by guys pushing 50. The old guys didn't over-dribble. They didn't jack up bad threes. They played fundamentally sound ball. And even after taking that L, the kids refused to adapt. That, right there, is the LeBron James effect. Winning isn't the main goal anymore. It is about doing whatever you feel like doing, even if it causes you to lose. That creates the LeBron attitude. I'll play my way. Damn the consequences. I am not adjusting my game. I am just going to get mine, fill up the stat sheet, and go home. That is the takeaway here. It screams, I am not willing to do the dirty work required to win. It is the direct result of idolizing a superstar who has spent years ignoring the fundamentals. Think about the timeline. These are high schoolers. They probably started watching serious hoops in middle school, maybe 3 to 6 years ago. That means their primary exposure to LeBron is the Lakers-era LeBron, the worst version, the version that hasn't played real defense in half a decade. Remember, the man hasn't made an all-defensive team since his Miami days. They are watching a guy who complains to the refs, walks back on defense, commits blatant travels and carries, and never boxes out. I have seen opponents grab rebounds over his head that should have been an instant benching for any other player. But you have this fundamentally broken superstar getting a free pass from the media. That is the blueprint these kids are copying. It is the only logic that fits. If I were a young hotshot and a bunch of old guys humbled me, if they proved their point by wiping the floor with me using boring fundamentals, whether it was 1-on-1 or 5-on-5, if they beat me with the exact skills they were preaching, I would flip the switch immediately. I'd be thinking, okay, I just got owned. There must be some truth to what the coach is saying. Because I actually want to win, I would say, all right, teach me. Let's master these basics. Clearly, their method works better than mine. But no, These kids got routed and still turned their noses up at the lesson. It is pathetic. If you don't care about winning and you refuse to learn the skills required to win, why are you even on the court? Now, I know the fanboys are going to scream, "That's not LeBron. That's Steph Curry. The kids want to shoot like Steph." Wrong. It is not about the shot selection. It is about the attitude toward winning. That is the distinction. Look, I hate the three-point obsession too. I think it is ruining the product. No matter how good you are, deep shooting is inherently high variance. Just because the league turned it into an assembly line where everyone jacks up shots doesn't make it right. Physics is physics. The further out you are, the less consistent the shot. That is just a fact. That creates wild volatility in the final scores. It explains why we see so many lopsided blowouts in the modern league. Defense is practically optional. They live by the three. They die by the three. That is just the reality of the game today. Finding any sort of rhythm is impossible with that approach. But really, it comes down to mindset. That is the core issue here. It is the LeBron James mentality. It is the arrogance of, "I will play how I want, results be damned." That is the exact attitude that allows a guy to reach 41 years old in this league and still lack basic structural soundness in his game. So, folks, when I heard that story, it really clicked for me. I realized we are seeing the tangible, real-world consequences of LeBron's influence on this upcoming generation of hoopers. This is the fallout from idolizing a superstar who cut corners. We are talking about a guy who lacked that burning desire to win, or he would have actually bothered to plug the holes in his skill set. It is basic stuff, like developing a reliable jumper so defenses cannot just pack the paint and dare you to shoot. Teams should not be able to gamble the whole game on whether or not you can hit an open shot, or fixing your free throw percentage so you are not terrified in crunch time. Then you would not need that tired excuse about always making the right basketball play. We know that is code for nerves and insecurity about your shot. It is just a convenient way to pass the accountability. Pass the rock to anybody but himself. Let's pause for a second, folks. The bottom line is this. Today's players simply cannot hang with the legends of the past because solid fundamentals will destroy flashy plays every single day of the week. Look at that drama with Gilbert Arenas last year. He was running his mouth about torching John Stockton back in his rookie season. But then the tape came out. And what did we see? Stockton was absolutely dissecting him. It just proved the point again. Substance always triumphs over style. Fundamentals provide the actual meat of the game. That foundation always wins. The problem is, most of these modern guys are all sizzle and no steak. I know the younger crowd hates hearing this. It probably sounds insane to you. It is tough to watch a guy break out 50 dribble moves and then compare him to someone using basic footwork. You naturally assume the guy going behind the back a dozen times is better than the guy taking 2 dribbles and pulling up. You think the guy putting on a dribbling exhibition has to be the winner. But I am telling you, that is a lie. Fundamentals are the engine of your game. Substance beats flash 9 times out of 10. Flash is only valuable when it is built on top of a solid foundation. Look at Michael Jordan. He looked incredible. And yeah, he had plenty of flair in his game. His dunks were legendary. His acrobatic layups were art. But do not get it twisted, he was great because of the substance. He had the basics mastered down to a science. Listen up, LeBron stans. Anyway, drop a comment below. What is your take on these high school kids getting schooled by fundamentals and still refusing to learn the lesson? In my book, that falls squarely on LeBron's shoulders. If you think I am wrong, tell me why. You all have an awesome day, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.